Welcome back to Jump Scare. I'm Betty.
And I'm Chad.
This week we're covering Malignant.
I'm having visions.
The body of Dr. Florence Weaver was found brutally murdered in her home this morning.
Did you know her? No, but I saw her die. I'm seeing things. I'm seeing murders as they're happening.
Hello?
He says his name is Gabriel. I think he's someone from my past.
Happy birthday.
Whatever happened to you before you joined our family hurt you in a way that I can't even imagine.
Stop saying that.
Maddie, who are you talking to?
Gabriel.
Is he your imaginary friend? Imaginary?
He's the devil.
Whatever it was,
It's back. He killed again. He's getting closer. He wants to talk to you. Mom, what do you know? He's coming for me. Who are you, Gabriel?
So we viewed this at home on HBO Max. And it is also playing in theaters. Probably by the time we release this, which would be tomorrow, it'd be out of the theater already. Since things last in the theater 1 week now. The movie has some recognizable to hardcore horror fans. Oh, my bad. I just totally stopped and went forward with the thing. I stopped in that move. We have a special guest today. See, I'm not used to having a special guest. That's why. And also, she kind of like in the movie, spoiler alert, there will be shit tons of spoilers in this podcast. So if you have not seen the film, do not listen to this cast. Watch it and then come back. She's a part of me. We are one. Carrie, my best friend, is back.
Yay.
Yay.
Returning from many years ago when we did our best vampire movie episode.
Yes.
Yes.
I saw it in the theater.
Yeah.
She did with
One
two
other
other persons.
One other person.
So it was like watching it at home, kind of.
Basically. And it was in a big theater, too.
Wow. I'm sure the theater experience is completely different. We would have gone, but life. So there are some recognizable people right off the bat. There's beginning scene. There's a nurse, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Anaxa Nanum.
Sanamoon.
Anaxa Sonamum.
Anaxunamun.
Patricia Velasquez from The Mummy 1 and 2. And also from a podcast we actually did from Warlock 2, Samantha, the actress is Paula Marshall. She's also in the film. She plays a hypnotist. So you might, you've seen those movies enough times. You might be like, hey, I recognize these people.
There's a few other people in it, too. One of the doctors in it is played by Christian Clemenson, who the hardcore nerds will remember from The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. He was Socrates Poole on that for the whole series. Yeah, none of you guys ever saw that. But yeah, nope.
I saw like 5 episodes. I vaguely remember this person.
Yeah. He was in that. He was in something else recently, too. I can't remember what it was now. I think he might have been in one of the Blade movies or something.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, you gotta have a check.
So this movie, I would put it under all the categories. If this was a Netflix, it would be under comedy. It would be a drama. It would be suspense, thriller, and horror.
Yeah.
Did I miss something? I feel like I want to add romantic comedy, but No, not a romantic comedy.
No.
The romance happens.
There's a little romance.
There's a little romance. Well, between the sisters, is that the romance? The
No.
love they have for one another.
No, the sister and the cop had a budding romance.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they were kind of flirting with each other.
Yes.
Yes, there was flirting over dead bodies. That did occur in the film.
Yeah, and we should mention that the one who plays the prominent crime scene tech in this, Ingrid Basu, also co-wrote the movie and is married to James Wan.
Yes. Oh, did we not mention that this is a James Wan movie? I figured everyone already knew.
Yeah, but just for the record.
So, yes, Mr. Wan decided, you know what? I got all this money coming in from these movies. Got Aquaman 2 coming out. Some other shit, I'm sure. And I'm just going to make a crazy fucking movie. The craziest movie I have ever seen. Me, Betty, in my life. There were a lot of things that happened in the film. The transitions of the music were very odd.
Great score / soundtrack, in my opinion.
Yeah, the music was fine. It was just very weird. I felt like at one point there was gonna be like that dum-dum-dum, like that Seinfeld thing, you know, at one point when they're like looking over the dead body.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. That was the right choice of music.
You know, and the music in this is by that Joe Bashara, who, among all his accomplishments, is the red demon guy who looks like Darth Maul in the Insidious movies.
He actually played him?
Yeah, he played him as well as doing the music, I believe. Because that one was so low budget, everybody was doing multiple things on that.
Also, there is a scene where he is playing a piano in the movie when they first go into his lair.
Right, yeah.
So yes, he would be the perfect person to be doing that because literally he was.
And he's a very
music.
tall, thin guy too. So yeah, I think that's where they got that extra.
Give me a It Follows score kind of vibe.
Yeah.
In certain parts when it had like the very odd transitions. Cool, but odd.
Yeah, and I know you're not really into supernatural films, so I didn't think you were going to get past like the first, 20 minutes of the movie.
Yes. That was scary, and then everything after that was, what the fuck am I watching? Because this is about 5 different movies.
Well, even people have pointed out, and I noticed it too, because we watched it at home, we had the captions on. Even the captions are kind of hilarious, where like they're talking to someone and she'll say, "I'm adopted," and then underneath them it says like, "dramatic dark music." So it's like, the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
It was foreshadowing that there's some shady shit going on with that adoption.
Yeah, I love it. I
Dark-
just love
Dun, dun, dun.
dark, foreboding music.
Dark and ominous.
Yeah.
Like in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah.
Yes, the dark and ominous music for sure. So I don't even maybe we should give a quick synopsis of the film in case you have not seen it. Maybe you haven't seen it and you're like, I'm not going to watch this. I feel like everyone should watch this movie. This is the movie that you need to watch one time. And there's only 2 people. Either you fucking love it or you fucking hate it. I feel like you can't.
I feel like I'm in the middle though.
I fucking love to hate it. Does that make sense? I'm all over the place with the film. I have very strong feelings that fit both sides. So I hate this. I have a love-hate relationship with the film.
Yeah.
Hate it not in the way that I wish maybe One Direction was, they went in one direction, but then that's what makes the film great, that it is all over the place because the movie itself, the concept, the plot, which has been done in other things in one shape, way, or form, but not like this. So, Shad.
So the basic plot of this is we have the woman who starts having flashes of, she's having like an abusive marriage and things are not going well for her. And then, the very first night, which is not really a spoiler, you see this right off the bat, she gets abused by her husband and he turns up dead the next morning. And we see the creepy thing that was downstairs that kills him. And then after she gets out of the hospital, she starts having these visions of everyone that's being killed.
Yes.
And they're very creepy. Like they do a great job of like, the whole apartment like melts around her and then she's just in the person's house that's being murdered.
And they're all connected.
Yeah, it doesn't take long to figure out all the murders are connected and it just goes from there. You start finding out then her past, this is in the trailer too, so you had an imaginary friend that caused some problems. So like they right off the bat, it gives me the vibes of that movie Z that we covered a few years ago from Popcorn Frights with the imaginary friend.
Yes, Brandon Christensen.
Yeah, and right off the bat, I was like, I thought this is what that was going to be. It was going to be the imaginary friend doing things, but they go in a little bit different direction.
Well, that's because the editing of the trailer is smart. It's probably one of the best edited trailers, because usually trailers nowadays, they show you the whole fucking movie. Even sometimes the end of the movie, they will show in the trailer. You don't know it's the end until after you see the film.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Quarantine. The end of that movie is in the trailer and the poster.
I'm done. So they definitely, I don't know. The synopsis. So can we just say it's like troubled relationship ends and women finds unexpected tied relations with a long lost sibling. Can that be the / Matrix?
Yeah. So from here on out, I have to say we're going to be into spoiler territory. So. Yeah, because it's really hard to talk about anything with the plot on this without spoiling something.
So, yes, this film, I did not feel bad for the woman. I actually was very upset because my first thought was, wow, it's current day, we're going to assume. They're cell phones, so it's, and they were iPhones. I mean,
yeah, it's present day.
No, yeah, because it said, I think, 19 or 23 years later or something.
Oh, yes, from 1996. The movie starts in 1996, which I also thought was hilarious. So, yes. So, there we have it. It's modern day, and this woman is still in an abusive relationship. And I know that, yes, unfortunately, that is a thing. But I was like, look, if he has already such a troubled past where you've already lost 2 children, because they don't really go into the reason why she lost the children until a little ways into the film.
They kind of allude to the fact that he potentially caused her to lose the babies.
Yeah. And by his behavior, one would think, okay, I would be out, okay, after the first one. This is not something where I'm like, whatever. But nevertheless, it's not that kind of a movie. We get past the abuse. Then he dies. I was happy. And the woman...
Do you want to mention what he did to her, though?
He bashed her head in a wall. And now she has head injuries in the back of her head.
Oh, yes, she does.
And that comes into play.
Yes, big time.
Movie.
And, you kind of pick up on some clues after, I want to say probably a week or two.
Yeah, like the third time.
Have gone by, and she keeps bleeding on the back of her neck, right, back of her head. Right off the bat, I was like, there was some kind of twin. She was a conjoined twin probably in the back of her head. There's something wrong.
That's what I thought.
And there's even that scene where they're doing an interview with her, and it looks like there might be someone kind of sitting behind her.
Oh yeah, further into the movie.
I thought there was going to be that you were going to find out that was where the twin was conjoined, was right at the back of her head.
It was conjoined by the face.
Yeah,
that's what I totally thought.
And then that was where the thing was like kind of fucked up when you see it later. It's like, oh, this is what it's going to be. It's going to be conjoined like right on the face or the back of the head or some way that makes it look really hideous now.
We're also going to put in the genre, I want to throw sci-fi.
Yeah.
Because
a little sci-fi. Because there's
magic
supernatural elements to it, which there shouldn't necessarily be there.
Well, and spoiler, I think the reason why they're there is because he has that control.
Yeah, because it's
of her
2
dream.
People sharing a brain.
So he's able to trick her and put her in scenarios where she thinks one thing is going on.
I meant like the lights.
But the other thing is going on.
Yeah, she's talking about the electrical control.
Well, he also has the electrical... Maybe he was RH negative. Yeah. That's a thing.
Yeah, he can control like the electricity. He can talk on cell phones.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a lot of... He has some... when you find out what it is, he has some interesting magic powers.
He's from the 90s, though, mid-90s. That is the start of, like, dial-up and AOL, right? Like, the hot, like, where it's really fucking hot. So he just took that knowledge...
Get into what he was.
Yeah.
She was born with a parasitic twin.
Yeah.
That was attached to the back of her head and her spine.
And he looks a little like Belial from the Basket Case movies.
Yes, which would be part of our
Yeah.
recommendations later on.
Yeah.
But like a skeleton Belial. He looked very malnourished.
Kind of
Which is why he was very hungry all the time.
reminded me also of the Queen Alien's Baby in Alien 4, like the hybrid.
Yeah,
Yes.
the weird
Kind of that like
uh,
whitish,
Pumpkin head.
Yeah.
very pumpkin head.
Yeah, a little bit on the pumpkin head too,
Yes.
especially when it's like the little pumpkin head, you know,
Yeah.
with the little arms.
Mini pumpkin head. Or the terrible, terrible scene. Actually, looked better than this, but chapter 2, It, the little baby It.
Oh yeah, baby.
Little baby
It.
With the
Pennywise.
little arms. Yeah.
Terrible.
Oh god, that was so.
Terrible.
So
We also have a podcast on that. See our old podcast on that.
they come, they start unraveling the clues about her past through her mom,
Yeah.
her adoptive mom.
Yeah, through documents and fucking people that were there, and bodies start showing up, and all the bodies are connected in one way because
Yeah,
it's all the
murders
doctors.
that she's seen are all the doctors from the hospital where she went as a kid when she had the little twin on the back. What was him? Gabriel.
Gabriel,
Like
of
they
course.
gave him such a name. Like it's such a kind of generic name. I was
Dark
expecting,
Angel.
Yeah, but I was expecting something super creepy for
I
his
didn't
name.
even think about that. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where they figure out pretty soon they're all connected to her because like, oh, it's all people that treated her when she was a kid are all showing up dead. So of course the cops immediately are like, well, you're doing this shit. And
No.
her sister even says, well, no, she's just seeing the murders psychically. Don't you guys do that? Don't you consult people all the time?
What we think she has psychic abilities. That's what they allude to.
And then the cops are just like, no, that's not a thing. We don't do that. And it's like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah, it's there goes the Seinfeld music.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, and Kramer walks into the fucking slides into the police. That would have been fucking classic. Why couldn't they have done that?
But yeah, so
See, we're all over the place because the movie is literally all over the place.
it's all over the place. And
What's your favorite? I will streamline. What is your favorite part of the movie?
my favorite part is when the end when Gabriel just goes batshit nuts in the police station and just goes full Matrix and just
Yeah.
kills like 85 cops in there.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, like, at some point, did any of those cops just go, you know, this is not worth it, and just run the other way? You
I
know?
did think the CGI for it was pretty cool because basically Gabriel emerges,
Yeah, you see him
And-
kind of pop out.
takes over, and it's like a kind of a Regan Crawley.
Oh, by the way, that's not CGI. That's an actual. It was a contortionist from what is
Well,
it? America's Got
From
Talent.
America's Got Talent.
When she when
Well,
he
I'm
put
sure-
his like arms back.
Yeah, like I'm talking about the fight scene.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
some
well,
of
no,
the-
the fight scene. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
I thought it could have gone real bad, and I mean, it was a little funny, but it still looked pretty decent.
It still looked pretty. Yeah, it still looked pretty good. But yeah, we forgot to mention too when they decide, like, okay, we've had you here for all these years with this parasitic twin, and its little tiny arms.
Wait,
in the
wait.
back.
Let's pause. Let's pause there. Let's pause. Let's pause. This is the part also that I was super pissed because I was like, okay, I know we're not gonna have a movie if this is a thing, but are you kidding me? These doctors, okay, who had the welfare of this child in their hands, they were given the mother gave them up to them to take care. They're like, you know what? We're just gonna write this one out. And we're just going to see where this goes for a couple of years and destroy this little girl's life. Like, the little girl was never going to have a normal fucking life. They just, the
This thing
decision.
attached to her.
Yes. And then, well, because we've already got into that, they decide, oh, we're going to separate them. We're just going to chop off the legs.
They
and
couldn't
the fucking
separate it all the way. 'cause
piece
it
of
would
the
kill
spine.
her,
Yeah.
'cause they shared
So
a brain.
then they
we
literally just,
let her live with this fucker, eating away at her fucking nutrients and sharing her fucking body and doing creepy shit, for like 8 years. But now we're just gonna, separate them, and we're gonna stuff that fucker because we can't get rid of the
We're stuffing
eyeball
the
and the brain
stuffing the head back in.
into the fucking skull, and then crazy glue it up.
That doesn't work. Like, her brain's already in there, and this thing's got a full face.
They
huge. Just poked it down in there, and just like closed her head over it and said, "That's fine."
No
I'm sure
scars, nothing.
Yeah, she had no scar.
Well,
down
we
her
couldn't
back.
really see. Oh, well, I think you meant on her head because her hair was really long.
But on the
obviously,
back,
purposely long.
I guess they probably went out of their way to not show if there was a big scar on her back, to not show it, because if they had, everybody would have went immediately. Oh, I know what it is.
Exactly. That would have given away the whole fucking thing.
So they didn't show it, but she had to have had some kind of scar, because this institute doesn't look like the kind of place that cares about how you look.
It looks like the House on Haunted Hill remake house, but about 3 times as tall.
Yeah, it was huge. And
super
also
random.
And it was
on the edge of a fucking cliff.
And like, that was probably the worst effect in the movie, because it was like, well, that's obviously like a matte painting or whatever there. They couldn't have found a real hospital to shoot in. And this was the one that cracked me up, was like where she drives up to the edge of the cliff and just parks her car like a half an inch from like a 500-foot drop off, and then it's like, yes, this is fine. I'll just
At night by herself.
Yeah.
In an insane asylum.
With
basically.
no weapon. No backup. The bitch didn't even bring a flashlight.
It's like, look, I'm going to go to the abandoned...
She used her cell phone flashlight.
I'm going to go to the abandoned insane asylum at night, and I'm not going to take anyone with me. I'm not telling anyone where I'm going. Nothing.
And also, we all know she kept the Wi-Fi on the phone the whole time. It was trying to find signal. Okay, she was out in the middle of the freaking castle / mountains. So there was no reception whatsoever. So the Wi-Fi was really working. She probably had like 2% going on her phone. There was no way.
She was lucky nothing happened to her there, because, look, even if you took out anything creepy, I wouldn't go to an abandoned insane asylum at night now.
On the edge of a cliff.
On the edge of a cliff,
overlooking the
no.
beach.
Okay, we're all saying it's an insane asylum. It wasn't an insane asylum.
It was a hospital
It was
for children with deformities.
Yes.
Yeah. Still, not going there at night by myself.
But the way they dressed it up, it was an insane asylum.
Yeah, it looked like the old creepy, like, definitely like House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah, it
like,
was running in the 90s, but it had like the turn of the century wooden wheelchairs, which doesn't make any sense either. Like,
hey, budgets are tough back in the 90s.
Yeah, Carrie, in the 90s, those wheelchairs from the 90s were from the 1930s.
But she was like an award-winning doctor. Like,
exactly. She kept all the money in her pocket. Did you see her house? She was not giving any of the money to the hospital.
Yeah, it was.
They all lived very cushy lives.
Back to your favorite scene.
I'm going to save my favorite scene. I want to know what your favorite scene is.
The way it was stylized, I think it's just because of the transition in the music and the way it was stylized. There's somebody being held in an attic for an unknown reason. They fall through the floor, and it just goes into like a Stranger Things transition, slow-mo scream. I thought that was just such a cool... it didn't fit in the movie at all, but it sounded and looked amazing, just the transition of that.
And that whole thing, too, is like, goddamn, how rickety is your house?
Yeah.
Like, you fall in the attic. The attic should be pretty... I mean, it wasn't like that was one of those attics that wasn't finished. It looked like it was a finished attic. She managed to fall through that place.
Yeah. I take that back. The person was known at that point of who brought them there, but you don't know who the person is.
Yeah. And it was just crazy. Like you said, she fell through there, and I'm like, God damn, that house is rickety. They definitely got termites.
But I thought it was such a cool, like, oh, wow, she was up there?
Yeah, when you realize where she's at, you're like, holy shit.
But the thing is, you don't see that. There's a big fan in that attic, but you don't see that from the house. Like,
maybe that was at the back of the house or the
it
side?
had to have been. But
maybe it was in the back of the house because it was an old...
But a house wouldn't have a fan like that.
It's an old house. Maybe it's one of those like Barnadoniums or some shit that was made into a freaking house.
Referencing
like
Aliens, it looked like the big fan in Aliens 3 that the guy fell through. It was that big. On a house, there would be no reason to have that.
Well, there are some old houses that do have those. They did just call them attic fans.
Oh.
Back before there was a lot of air conditioning.
Yeah.
My mom had a place where it was like you would flip this switch in the hallway and like a little vent thing that opened. And there was a big attic fan that was supposed to suck out hot air and then like blow that out to help cool the house. It doesn't work worth a shit. It does not cool the house at all, but I guess they were trying something.
Yeah, because heat rises. So
Yeah.
that's where all the fucking the heat was going to be up there. So I get the
But
thought.
it probably just from like me and at my mom's, all it did was cool the attic, but that was about it.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Yeah, and then this is the other thing. The beginning of this film is exactly why I don't want to own a house or live in a large house, because you never know what's going on in any other room when you're in one room in the house. You could be, I mean, obviously this woman was there for a while. Okay. I'm not like 3 years, but more than a day was way too many for you to not know that there was someone living in your house. But the house was large.
And creepy
She
things-
was by herself.
Creepy things kept happening at night where she was like terrified, and the next day she's like totally cool, walking around, like not
That's
scared at
fine.
all.
Like I'm only afraid of the nighttime, and in the morning
When this
time,
like creature
Yes.
person is running around like a spider backwards, or in the street looking at me, but during the day, nothing.
I'm totally
Totally
cool.
cool. Totally cool.
Don't be
My
worried about
husband
anything.
was murdered in this house,
Well, I don't think she was too sad about that.
but
Yeah, nobody was sad about the husband.
okay.
My favorite part of the film.
Can I guess?
Yes.
The jail scene.
No.
Oh, okay.
That was not my favorite part of the film.
That's
we're-
when the film just went wackadoodle.
Yeah, like you said, when she finally goes to jail and she's in there with like somebody from the Sons of Anarchy and then Foxy Brown.
Foxy, somebody that looked like she belonged in a Foxy Brown
Like the
1970s
1970s, yep.
Yeah, but everyone in there was, I was like, what is this? I literally looked at Shannon, I was like, is this like the Decades dance like jail?
No,
Like, everyone-
looked like
The denim, the Zoe Bell. She's she's in the movie. Stunt woman,
she looked
obviously.
like she should have been in an Elvis Jailhouse Rock.
Yes, for sure. Very 50s,
music videos.
60s. She had the denim.
The Foxy Brown lady, and then just
Everyone else looked just weird
so
and
random.
It was, but this is my favorite. Actually, maybe that was my favorite part. Only because I want part 2 just to be Gabriel and whatever her name was. Do we even care about what her name was?
Emily?
Was her name Emily? Yes, it was Emily.
No, Madison.
Madison. Well, she had her real name.
Her real
and then
name was Emily May.
Yeah, and then
Oh,
she
yeah,
had
yeah.
her.
Her adoptive name was Madison.
Madison, yeah.
And we forgot to say who she is.
Annabelle Wallace.
And she is from The Tudors. She played Jane Seymour, the third wife, who died of natural causes after childbirth of Henry VIII. And
Wow.
she was in Peaky Blinders.
Yep.
Yeah, we only care about the people that were in horror movies. Wait, did we talk about the people that were in the horror movies?
Yeah, we did.
You did. Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
I mean,
Betty
She was-
only cares about the people
The
that
Mummy's
are in the
not
horror
a
movies.
movie.
It's not a horror movie, but
Well, she was
it's
actually
within
in-
the
It's a
realm.
remake of a monster movie.
Exactly.
She was
Universal
actually
Monster.
in the new Mummy movie with Tom Cruise, too.
So. Oh, yeah, she was.
Wow. Really?
For her.
Well, good for her. She got work.
She got a check. That's all that matters.
So I want the second movie to be, it's for all of you people. I mostly would think it would be guys. And then that like random weird girl, that would be me, who loves reform school girls. That I want reform school girls with Gabriel and Emily. Okay, that's the second film where they're just in prison.
Ooh.
And now they have to deal with being in prison, the two personalities, and then he has to fight. You know, people are stealing Gabriel's fucking, shampoo for his luxurious hair. He's fucking pissed. Some bullshit like that. I need the second one to be in prison. Because yes, that prison scene did remind me of typical 80s, 70s, 80s woman prison movies. Have you seen a lot of women prison movies?
No.
You have to see Reform School Girls because you will love it. I own it. It's my favorite prison woman movie of all time.
Random, and then Gabriel emerged.
Yeah, and Gabriel was not happy to be in the women's prison. They really should have just left his ass alone.
And that was like the whole thing is that flipped everything on its head. It was really her body committing all these crimes, but Gabriel took over.
Yeah.
And it happened because he was reactivated after the husband hit
Smashed her head into the wall.
Smashed her head into the wall.
Yeah, it cracked open like the little egg in like Jurassic Park when the fucking thing is like chipping out.
Yes.
That was Gabriel.
He was able to poke his way out. And that's why she, you find out later, of course, that's why she lost all the other pregnancies, is because Gabriel was sucking all the nutrients from
And I love
them.
how her adoptive sister is the one that just randomly figured it out without...
She put it all together.
She put it all together. They had nothing, just she's like, oh, that's why you lost all your babies. Gabriel was getting the nutrients from them.
Because as an actor in like a theater company, she knows all about this stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Yes. And also, don't forget, they didn't need to give a lot of backstory to her because we already know, obviously, besides she's a sister, she's creative because she's taking care of kids and working at a fucking princess palace. Because the first time we see her, she's wearing a princess dress.
She actually was a lot of motivation, though. So she was important because...
Yeah, she was important. But that's where she gets her knowledge of how she knew all that shit because and then she became Nancy Drew in the movie. She was the one, she's the character in the horror film, the recent horror film of the last 5 years where, you know what? No, let's go 20 years. Where the person's like, this person was in Richfield Memorial, and then they type in the computer Richfield Memorial, and every single patient article, fucking everything you needed to know, what the fucking nurse ate on October 23rd, 1985, every information is there, and the click
on
of
the
one
first Google screen.
Yes, that's how amazing Google is. It's just first line, link, boom, done.
Yeah.
That was her purpose.
And she knew that the parasitic twin attached to her adoptive sister was the reason she was having miscarriages.
Yep, she figured that out.
He was gaining his strength, and it was the smashing of the head that got him out of his dormant.
That activated him.
Knowledge is power.
So yeah, the second movie, I just wanted to be a courtroom thriller where they're just putting Gabriel on trial.
Maybe that's how it starts, and then they end in the prison. Boom.
Yep.
Boom.
There we go. That would be a good one.
That was a high five. All those booms were high fives.
So, what would you rate this on the knife scale of 1 to 4 knives?
Oh, let's mention that we thought when we first saw it that the movements, we did say it was a contortionist, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is like the craziest thing.
That was cool. I mean, again, it's not that something like that hasn't been done before, but it was imaginative and pretty.
Yeah, it was within context of what was going on, how he was able to turn himself around, quote unquote, to speak, and take control.
You kind of can tell when you think it's another entity that like something's weird with the way it moves. Like
Chad found before he got into. Oh, wait a second. I'm sorry. Pause. How? No, I gotta take back my prison favorite moment. My favorite moment was when the cop follows him in the underground Victorian fucking lair with the old timey, because they literally set this up at the beginning of the movie. They were like, did you know?
Seattle?
Yeah, it was Seattle.
Yeah, did you know back in the so-and-so hundreds that, there was a city underneath and they just leveled it.
They just built right over it.
Yeah, and there's buildings and the cars and the whole life is down there. And I was like, wow, they
left pristinely.
Yes, it was like Land of the Lost. I was like, what? Are they trying to, is it hooked up with a LeBray fucking TV show that just came out? Is that?
It was like the scene in The Lost Boys where they go to the hotel and they're like, when the earthquake hit, everything fell through and they just built right over it, except it was like brand new.
Yeah.
Like you could walk in there and it's 1800.
I was jealous. I was like, excuse me, no one invited me. I would have gone my Victorian wear and had a photo shoot in there.
Do you think it's real?
Yeah, that is real. That's a real thing in Seattle.
Not like that pristine, right?
No, I don't think that you can't even get in there, can you?
You can get in there. They offer tours and stuff.
I would think that was dangerous.
Apparently not.
Well, damn it. When this COVID thing is over in 3 to 5 years, I'm going to get my Victorian wear and I'm going there for a photo shoot. Okay?
Yeah.
Gary,
it was just like it was so random. Like,
it was very random.
Here's this underground city that we built right over, and
they had to have the fucking carriage. What is it? The kind of car that they were driving.
It was
carriages.
It was a carriage. It was a horse-driven carriage.
The horse-driven carriage. Okay, we had to have that with the Jack the Ripper-esque being that is walking backwards.
Or
because that's what he looked like. He was wearing
the Laura Lee Sherman, and if you get that reference,
Yeah.
you guys should do a podcast on that movie. Look it up. Laura Lee Sherman, and Brittany Murphy's your clue.
I think the clue would have been Laura Lee Sherman for the
For the real
hardcore,
fans.
for the hardcore people. She told me, and I was it didn't dawn on me. I've seen the movie 2 times. I do love the movie. It is our movie.
Yes.
I think it's our movie.
It's one of
the movies.
But
definitely, yes. So much like that. And also, I was like, to Shad, I was like, did Bagul have a brother and his name Fagul? Is Fagul in this movie? What is going on?
I don't understand how the cop was at all able to keep up with him. This dude was like Spider-Maning down at the side of a building, but this cop was able to chase him and keep up with him through a Victorian underground city.
One word I have. Parkour. Okay?
It was very parkour. I thought the same thing.
I was like, wait a second. Did they go back in time to 1996 for this scene? Like, they were like
It was like, but
early 2000s?
This entity is supposed to be like uber fast. It was like watching Michael Myers, where the person's running so fast, he's walking at a snail's pace and somehow catches up to him.
Yeah, but Michael Myers is magic, so he was able to do that. He got some Harry Potter-ass shit going on.
But yeah, this guy...
Magic of Samhain.
We got Gabriel making it down the, like you said, he's going down all this shit, and the cop follows him, man. That guy was dedicated.
That was my favorite part.
It just kept going deeper. It was like going into the catacombs of France or Paris.
And I was like, are you stupid? Why are you going down? No one's going to find you guys. The radio is not going to work down there. You're underground city, okay? It's not going to work. I don't know. That was my favorite part because of the horse-drawn carriages.
It was just so, again.
And the crawling in the walls backwards.
Random.
It was very random.
What was my analogy that, like, the director, like, took a hit of acid and was, like, coming out of it and was like, Eureka, I've got this movie.
There we go. This is how I only got like 3/4 of the acid, so I didn't get the very last of it.
Like, it was like a bum tab halfway through and it just...
It's either because it's written by 3 people and, or, David, James Wan really wanted to use David Sandberg's techniques in the beginning of the movie.
You referenced somebody's work.
Yeah, David Sandberg. Like, he wanted to do the whole light on, light off, the fucking...
It was very lights out in the beginning of the movie, too.
Yes. And
totally different movie than the rest.
And it feels supernatural. There's a supernatural element to the movie, and you're like, okay, this also reminds me of Insidious, because that was also used there. The whole
it was a little
thing.
The Unborn.
Yes, you did mention the Unborn.
Some kind of twin that wasn't there anymore, but still was.
Wait, isn't it also Brendan Christensen?
No.
I know it was Odette Annabelle, wasn't it? That's all I know.
Well,
you're thinking of one called Stillborn.
Stillborn, yes.
Is that the one that had the beautiful crib?
I have no idea.
It did.
Maybe. I don't know. This film reminded me of another film that I recently saw, which I told Chad. I saw this by myself. It's called Halloween Party. It's on Amazon Prime. And the movie is these kids are living in this hospice, and they all have some kind of deformity. And the deformity is called like balloon disease, where they have like the enlarged parts on top of their face. No, it's like...
I'm sure they made it up.
Yeah, well, balloon babies is what they're called. Balloon babies in the film. Okay. And these balloon babies, they all committed suicide and they had a pact. They fucking come back.
Sounds amazing already.
No, the movie, it was so unexpectedly good. Yeah. I really enjoyed the film, but the film reminds me so much, and it has like high ratings on Amazon Prime. I'm not really one for ratings, but I'm like, okay, there's no one like barely recognizable in this film. I think everyone is just like a regular person, and obviously low budget, but it's a pretty good film, and the people get like an email, and the email is like, witch, very 8-bit looking, very old school. And she's like moving her little head and it's like, what are you afraid of? And they have to put what they're truly afraid of.
The kids?
It will not work. The people that email gets sent to. It's kind of
Okay.
like randomly gets sent to different people, one at a time. Not like in a plethora.
Mm-hmm.
Not like a Bloody Mary. What is it? When you like a chain.
Not like a chain.
Urban
mail.
Ledgers.
Not like that. It just goes to randomly one person. But anyway, so the kids have this deformity and the freaking hospital's all fucked up and, it's all fucked up. And then you come to see that the freaking kids they're coming through the computer and they're killing people. And it's like a whole thing. But that part of where it's like people that have deformities and all that, reminded me of this film because of the whole like very weird how they came up to that. So if you like this film, we recommend some other films that you may or may not have already seen and or some that we've actually done, probably one of them, a podcast on. So we're going to go with The Dark Half.
Yep.
Which we did do a podcast on. There's 2 TV shows.
Yeah, you've got the Tales from the Crypt episode called The Ventriloquist Dummy with Bobcat Goldthwait and Don Rickles. That one is a favorite of mine. I've always loved that one.
It's a really good one. Then we have Humbug, the X-Files.
Yep. That was the second season of that? Yeah, second season of X-Files.
And then, of course, we already mentioned this film, Basket Case.
Yeah, Basket Case is in there. And then I've heard someone else say that there's a movie called I, Madman that is similar to this in principle.
Okay.
But I haven't seen that one, so I can't say.
And Carrie, you're still, what is it called?
The Unborn.
The Unborn.
Yeah, that one's got Gary Oldman and Idris Elba in it, I believe.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. So I've seen that one. It's pretty good. It's more of a Jewish demon. You don't see a lot of the...
No, I'm thinking of something totally different.
Okay.
With Odette Annabelle.
Well, we're going to say maybe look out for that one. May or may not have something to do with...
Yeah, The Unborn is from 2009.
And...
Yes, it was from 2009, written by David S. Goyer.
Oh, yeah, the guy did The Dark Knight and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's the same.
Wait.
That's the same one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know it had anything to do with Judaism.
Yeah.
I don't know how many knives to give this film. I'm...
3.5 out of 5. I know you said 4, but...
There we go. We threw an
I'm
extra
going
an extra knife out of there just to the craziness.
Because it's too hard on a scale of 1 to 4.
It is difficult to rate. I'm going to rate half of me. The front side of me is going to rate it 3 knives. The back side of me is going to rate it 1.5 knife.
Oh, really?
For a combo of 4 knives, my math is really bad, so don't do the math on that.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm going to give this movie a no knife rating. Not that it's a no. I'm not going to give it a rating. There you go. Because I don't know. When you see the movie, maybe you'll be able to feel what I feel because it just blew my mind. But is it because it's just so terrible that it's amazing? Or is the movie pretty good? I don't know. Will I ever know is the question. I enjoyed myself. And that is...
It would be fun to watch a little tipsy.
Oh, for sure. Or with just a group of people. I would have liked to have seen this with you and or...
The whole group would have been fun.
A whole group.
Because you just would have looked at each other through the parts with your hands up going... What?
The part where Gabriel's fighting, there are some scenes when you're able to see that Emily is asleep. The front, they're the same body. So Carrie had some issues with how the face looked. I was okay with it because I thought either they deep faked her face on there or they made a silicone, not an imprint, but a mask of her face, and the contortionist is wearing it on the backside of her face, kind of like, with the...
it, but it just looked like...
And that's a reason for why her hair was so long, to cover that stuff. Because if her hair was shorter, your eye would be able to catch it more.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons. And I think the way that they did the clothing, because of the shadows, her hair, everything, this is kind of like the Jaws of horror movies, because it's not really until the end of the movie that you really find out, the monster,
Well, you see the monster, but it's not what you think it is.
Exactly. So that's what makes it for me. There's a piece of it that's the piece that brings it together. You're like, holy shit, I would have never fucking thought this was gonna be it. It's the oh shit.
And the way Gabriel emerged, I was a little comical. And the cop, the female detective, was pretty comical. She threw in a Sloth Goonies reference that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I love that. She's like, so we're looking for Sloth from the Goonies. Great.
Yeah, she had a good comedic effect on it.
Oh, can I do a second part that was my favorite? But this is gonna be really fast.
No, I'm just like, okay, what?
I think it's everyone's favorite part of the film. When she ultra healed herself in the end and closed up her own fucking skull. That was my favorite part too. In the end where...
Oh yeah, it just like perfectly...
sealed itself.
And that's like the supernatural part of it.
Yes.
Again, like why do they have... Just because it's a parasitic twin... Why do they get to have supernatural powers?
Because we said in the sci-fi films, he's probably in that part of the brain that is able to awaken those kind of things like telekinesis and shit like that, or moving fucking electricity. He has those kind of powers, or maybe they're literally using the whole totality of their brain because it is, two things in there. When it comes to brain shit, I feel like that's when you're able to do all kinds of crazy shit because it's such an unknown thing. No one uses the full, percentage of their brain. So it's kind of like an unknown thing of like, what could you accomplish? Probably maybe the closest people have ever like crazy invent, like Albert Einstein, like crazy fucking like, what the hell? He had nothing and he was able to do amazing things. He probably had a larger brain
Great
capacity,
education.
Exactly how you cut it 3 sticks and then you're like freaking Albert Einstein. But I meant like you can't count 3 sticks.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Okay.
This has gone just like Malignant, totally insane. This is our insane podcast with our special guest Carrie.
Hi.
And so how many knives do you give it again?
I'm going to give it 3. I didn't get to give mine because you cut me off.
Oh, well, it's all about our guests now.
Yes.
Just tell me what your rating was again.
I made it I said 3.5 out of 5.
Okay, 3.5 out of 5.
It was pretty entertaining.
It was very entertaining.
And I'm a pretty critical critic.
No, she's not. Okay, we're gonna say she is, but she's not. That's a whole other podcast.
I could have very easily gone like, what the F is this? This is so stupid. I think I could have easily gone that way.
I feel like you could have, but this film has it has a very 80s feel to it in some degree. And I think there was something about it that told me, I think Carrie she's gonna like this film. Because it's so crazy.
Me to go see it because I do not like the supernatural kind of, what is it? Taking over.
Yeah, you don't like any possession or anything like that.
Kind of. That's
you don't even like ghosts unless it's like Patrick Swayze. Like you're not.
Hello.
You're not into any of that. But yes, I told Chad once. He told me you had gone and seen, and I was like, oh my God, either she's going to call us within the next 20 minutes saying, I couldn't do it. I had to get the fuck out of there. Or she's going to make it through. And we were literally waiting. We were like, 9 o'clock. Okay, 9:17, 9:35. She hasn't called us yet. Let's call her.
The first 20 minutes where my heart was beating a little fast. And then after that, it's like, whoa. So you gave it 3 out of 4?
Yeah, I'll give it 3 out of 4.
Okay. All right. Well, everyone has their thing. I think we give it a high rating overall. Average.
Yeah. Totally worth seeing. See it in a group. Have a little cocktail.
Enjoy yourself.
Have a party.
Or maybe don't have a cocktail because I was drunk at the end of the movie. Like I was like, well, I felt like I had drank like 3 fucking I was like, what is going on? I don't even know. Who am I? I don't even know who I am anymore. Because it left me so dumbfounded.
I do want the vinyl, though. I already knew that right away. I Shazammed like 3 songs during the movie.
Care. Anywho, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Jump Scare, the horror podcast. Stay tuned to the horror.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.